I was thinking about something I seem to have a problem, is desire without fear. I've become very successful, and my work with you over the last 4 years or so has been very, very helpful. But it seems I can't stay focused on the good things without this wave of feeling that it's all going to be taken away.
Well, here's the thing, because as you keep that vibration active within you by noticing that. And so it's the same question, how do I get rid of fear or doubt? Well, you get rid of it before it starts. So what you do is you start the next day through slowly appreciating by focusing upon things that don't activate that contradictory vibration. And when you feel that contradictory vibration beginning to rise within you, don't put words to it, because it would peter out. So many people think that, well, they need to get to the root of the fear, and they need to solve it. And maybe you could talk yourself into realizing that those fears are irrational, but that's sort of a slippery slope, because when you begin talking about irrational fears, because you're focused upon the very thing that is causing the fear, then law of attraction brings you more evidence, more conversation, more mental images about the fact that it is not so irrational, because you remember that happening, and you remember that happening, and you remember that happening. So perhaps this will be helpful to you. Every subject is two subjects. It's like picking up a stick, that on one end of the stick is what is wanted, and on the other end of the stick is the absence of what is wanted. And so when you think about the success that you want, so you pick up this stick called success, depending upon what you've got going on vibrationally, you could activate one end of the stick or the other. You almost have to focus yourself so predominantly on the things that are working that they just crowd out any images of the things that aren't working, because you are the broadcaster of your vibration. And if you're broadcasting about things that you appreciate, you cannot in that same moment be broadcasting about things that you're worried about. So it really is about you tipping the balance of the scale by being clear about what you want to think about. We've been introducing into this conversation of creation the subject of unconditional alignment. Unconditional alignment or unconditional love means just resting in the vibration of source, because you're not poking around in conditions that hinder it. In other words, here you are, this little boy, learning it pretty early, on the airplane, living a very conditional love, because that airplane and its noise was a condition that when he focused upon it, he didn't feel safe. So it's something that you sort of naturally come to, but it's nice when you become aware of what's going on, because he wasn't unsafe. His perspective of it was just that he was unsafe. So what we're getting at here, you all have learned, starting at early ages, to be conditional in the way you feel. If the market is doing really well, you feel more secure. If things are unstable, you feel less secure. In other words, almost everyone offers the vibrational output that they are offering based upon what they are observing. And the thing that is so crazy about that is that what you're observing doesn't mean diddly squat, because it's old news. We want you to realize that what's going on is that you are observing sloppily. You're whatever is observable, you're observing. But if you'll start with an intention when you go to bed tonight, when I sleep, all momentum is going to stop. And when I get up in the morning, the momentum that will be started naturally is that pure, positive momentum. The moment that you wake up, you're a perfect match to the source within you and everything that's in your vortex. You are, for that long. You're there. And then you begin to think and talk to others. But if when you awaken, you acknowledge that you're there, and you appreciate that you are there, and you feel the newness of this day, and you reach for soft, general, simple thoughts that don't challenge your alignment, just long enough that momentum gets going, you can get into a role of appreciation pretty soon. And before long, we're talking about a few days or weeks, you will have changed the balance of your point of attraction so significantly that you will acknowledge how good you feel. We'd like you to start thinking more universally. We'd like you to accept the perfection of this universe, the perfection of creation. We want you to focus on the source within you. We want you to acknowledge that you're here to conceive of improvement, and you do it all day, every day. So when billions of you watch television and find things to worry about, you put a request in the vortex that source is on right away. And when we say when you ask it is given, we're not making it up. It is. When you ask, it is given. But you're the ones that have to tend to the manifestation of it. You have to make what's been given a reality, which means you've got to find a way to perceive what has been given. And if you're just looking at what has already come to fruition, the good and the bad and the ugly, the wanted and the unwanted, then you've got a vibrational pattern going on within you that causes you sometimes to feel good and sometimes to feel bad, but you have no control because you're sloppy in your perspective. You got to care about the way you feel enough that you tune yourself to words and emotions, to feelings that feel good. So now you want to figure out how to allow what's in the vortex to flow into your experience. And what's in the vortex is vibrating at a very high, fast frequency, which means if you're not up to speed with it, you're not going to translate it. So these vibrations are going to turn to manifestations for you only when your frequency matches that into your experience. They're coming to you through the path of least resistance. Can you hear that? Mm-hmm. The thoughts are turning to things through the path of least resistance. You're not helping all that much because you keep saying, I have fear, I have doubt. I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. So you keep conjuring more resistance. You don't mean to, but you keep doing it. But Source keeps offering to you through the path of least resistance. And that's why we say you allow yourself to eke out small, minuscule parts of what is available to you because you're sloppy with your thinking. And the reason that you're sloppy with your thinking is because you don't care enough how you feel. And the reason you don't care enough how you feel is because others have convinced you it's not right for you to feel good all the time, you selfish person. You think the world just revolves around you, they say to you, and we say, yes, yes, it does. Yes, yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does. Take care of the way you feel. They'll say, don't you dare be selfish. And what they mean is, don't you be selfish. I'm the one being selfish, which means you got to do what I want you to do. And we want you to understand, you got to find some way of making your energy work for you. You've got to find some way of aligning yourself with you. You've got to find some way. And we've offered processes and processes and processes. All of them help a little bit. But most of the processes, you still have this current that you're trying to buck. Most of the processes are more about effort than we want you to be applying at this stage of your creative game. We want you to accept your worthiness, but you have unaccepted your worthiness for so long, you can't all of a sudden just start accepting your worthiness. So you've got to start with thoughts that don't have much going on. So that's the key. You've got to care enough about how you feel, that you don't say the things and think the things that aggravate you. So isn't that wonderful that you've got a guidance system that shows you when you're doing that thing you do that's keeping you from what you want? Fear says you're clogging the path. Anger says you're clogging the path. Frustration says you're clogging the path, not as much as with fear, but it's clogged a little bit. In other words, path of least resistance is a clear path. The path of least resistance is a path of joy, a path of fun, a path of eagerness, a path of passion. Those are the emotions that you're reaching for. And you just have to stay focused long enough to produce those emotions in you when it's easy. And we're telling you, it's easier at the first part of the day. But if you get up and you focus on the issue at hand or the problem at hand, then you just bring the path of most resistance right into your vibration, and law of attraction just takes over from there. It's like saying, come here, go away. I want you, go away. I want you, but I don't believe you. That's what you do to your boyfriends too. I want you. I don't want you, but I want you, but I don't want you. If you want it, then practice the thoughts of your desire. And desire feels good. Doubt feels bad, you see. So you all think you have to face reality. We should face reality. Otherwise, we'll just look stupid in this world, Abraham. If I act happy today when something bad's happening around the world, people will think I'm weird. Well, be weird then. Because most of this stuff that you're focused upon that has you feeling bad is not going to bring Ebola to your house, not going to bring a terrorist to your door. But what it is going to do is keep the money away that you've been wanting. What it is going to do is keep the clarity away. It's going to hold you in a place of sort of suspended animation where everything that you want is there ready to pop for you, but you're on a different channel. And you know that because you've had the glorious experience of being on the wavelength where you got the idea. So how do these vibrations turn to the manifestations that you want? How does it happen? It comes vibrationally, and you are the interpreter of it, just like what's happening with Esther right now. We're offering these blocks of thoughts. It's like she's hardwired. She's interpreting the blocks of thoughts in a seamless way. Don't keep long lists of things that you think that you're going to get to. You are powerful in your now. Your path is unfolding now. That would be like you're walking down this path, and it's a long drop off, and you're walking, and you know where you want to be, and you have the impulse, I should go that way, not that way. And then you say, I'll make a note of it and tend to it later. No, don't write it down, tend to it now. But the other thing that we want to say to you is that the path is coming to you. It's not a path that you're trying to discover. The path is at your feet. The question is, are you in the right vibrational vicinity so that you can see the path? Are you getting the impulse? The first manifestation is your emotion. What could be a bigger manifestation than the way you feel? And it's instantaneous. It's right here, right now, letting you know, how does this thought fit with who you really are? And if you feel anything less than wonderful, this thought right here and now does not fit at all. What's the next manifestational evidence? Ideas start to occur to you. You start getting thoughts. Now, we know where you are and we know where you want to be. But where you want to be, you're going to block. If we told you where what you want is, most of you would not go there. You'd have 15 or 20 reasons why you're not going to do that, not right now. Instead, you translate it into the thought that you can perceive. You're translating the thought of least resistance. For example, when Esther first met us, and Jerry was so excited about the information that he was receiving from Abraham through Esther. If Esther had known that she would be working every weekend, on the airplane a lot of her life, acting weird in front of lots of people, she would have made sure that didn't happen. She translated it in a different way. She translated it, well, yeah, Jerry, you and I can do this, but just don't tell anyone. Then one day, they were sitting in front of a woman who had been reading some other material that had been translated by Jane Roberts from Seth. Mm-hmm. And Jerry said, would you like to meet Abraham? Esther wanted to kill him with her bare hand. She couldn't believe that he had put her on the spot like that. But the woman was so excited, and she said, yes, yes, yes. And they sat all afternoon. And it gave Esther an understanding that it wasn't so weird, that this woman didn't burn her at the stake. And so, path of least resistance. In other words, you let your good in to the degree that you can believe it. That's really what it comes down to. You let your good in to the degree that you can believe it. And so the path of least resistance is the path of beliefs through which you allow yourself to receive what you want. So let's back up. Do you believe that we believe that you create your own reality? And that this is a vibrational universe, as in everything is vibrational. And that your thoughts project vibration. So your thoughts both do the asking and the allowing. So sometimes you think about what you want and you create it. But sometimes you think about what you don't have and you don't let it in. That really is all you need to know. So as you begin cleaning up your thoughts by caring about the way you feel, little by little, you reduce your level of resistance, which means you increase your level of allowance, which means more things begin to occur to you. So you have better timing, you get better ideas, your impulses are better, things around you start going better. But most of all, you feel really good more of the time, really good more of the time. And as you start putting the two together, that the better you feel, the better it goes, the better you feel, the better it goes, the better you feel, the better it goes. And then you are selfish enough to care about how you feel. So if you've got a friend who always brings you down, you start saying, hey, gotta go. If there are reports that you're reading and analysis of the finances of the world that are bothering you, then stop it. And some people say, well, that's like putting my head in the sand, like I'm not facing reality. And we say, exactly. Don't face the reality that produces within you a vibration that prevents you from your own well-being. That's really what it comes down to. The art of allowing says, I've created it. It's coming to me. It wants me. I want it. I will find a way to allow it. And the path to allowing what I want is the path of happiness and joy and feeling good. Really good. Really good.